In the modern attention economy, an achievement practically doesn't exist until it is broadcast, quantified by metrics, and validated by a crowd. This creates a specific feedback loop. We begin reverse engineering our goals, our hobbies, and even our personalities to trigger the maximum possible reaction from an audience. Outsourcing your self-worth in this way comes with a heavy tax. When your value is tied to public praise, your confidence becomes volatile, spiking with every notification and crashing the moment the attention fades. In a system built on relentless broadcasting, silence is often misinterpreted. We have developed a reflex to view a lack of self-promotion as a lack of ambition. This makes the quiet achiever a behavioral mystery. These individuals pull off high-level work, yet actively keep their wins hidden from the public eye. They build businesses, they master crafts, or write extensively, but they skip the networking mixers and avoid the digital victory laps that have become standard. Because they refuse to brag, we tend to misdiagnose their silence. We assume they suffer from imposter syndrome or lack the confidence to stand behind their results. In reality, these individuals aren't struggling with confidence. They are measuring their success against an invisible, self-contained metric that the rest of the world cannot see. This behavior is driven by a psychological structure known as the locus of evaluation. Most people operate on an external locus. Here, a person takes an action and uses the crowd as a mirror, relying on value signals returning from the surrounding network to tell them if their work was successful. The internal locus is a closed system. The crowd is removed from the equation. The individual acts as their own judge and jury, comparing their work against a private rubric rather than public opinion. This model provides a level of stability the external locus cannot match. While public approval spikes and crashes based on fleeting trends, the internal loop remains steady, governed only by the creator's own standards. For someone with an internal locus, the crowd's data is essentially noise. It doesn't factor into the psychological equation of whether they have succeeded or failed. This changes the mechanics of how a person works. Before they begin a task, they define exactly what good looks like. They execute the work without checking for outside feedback. If they meet their own standard, the achievement registers immediately. At that point, a round of applause from an audience is mathematically redundant. The victory was already confirmed by the only person with the authority to grant it. If they fall short of their standard, the praise of 1,000 people cannot fix the feeling of failure. They know the work didn't meet the rubric, making external compliments feel hollow. This strict internal grading naturally eliminates the urge to show off. When peer validation holds no power over the final score, there is no reason to seek it out. The silence of these high achievers isn't a calculated move to be mysterious. It is the natural result of a self-sustaining psychological loop. This silence is a marker of psychological independence. By removing the need for a feedback loop, these individuals remain functional even when their environment becomes hostile or indifferent. Think of it like this oak tree. While a windstorm of public opinion whips the grass and debris into a frenzy, the tree stays still because its structural integrity is determined by its roots, not the direction of the wind. This internal focus acts as a filter. When a project is criticized or ignored by the public, the individual's mental state remains protected because the critique cannot penetrate the private rubric they use to build it. This self-contained system produces a consistent sense of value that exists independently of a public market. They aren't waiting for permission to feel accomplished. They've already granted it to themselves. The constant demand to perform for an audience fatigues everyone in the modern attention economy. The pressure to broadcast every win is a source of persistent anxiety. Shifting your locus of evaluation inward starts with a single project. Before you begin, write down 3 private standards that you alone will use to judge the result. Do not share them with anyone. Completing a task where the only judge that matters is yourself provides a unique form of psychological relief. You are no longer waiting for the world to tell you if your time was well spent. By muting the crowd and trusting your own internal rubric, you stop performing for the gallery. You reclaim your time, your deep focus, and the right to be the sovereign of your own life.